Thank you so much to Cafe Mutual. So, folks, I've got some slides, but I've been told by our hosts that Mumbai's brightest distributors and wealth managers are in the room. So, rather than boring you with my slides, which I might do a little bit, I want to give you a quiz on global investing, right? So थोड़ा सा tough quiz होगा. So, if I could have all your attention, it'd be great because it'll make it easy to get good participation going in the quiz. So, in the quiz, I'll take you through. If I could have the slides up. The clicker is here. Thank you so much. So the quiz I'll take you through is what basically my journey through COVID. So 2020 we were all at home, थोड़ा सा stress थे. 2021 थोड़ा दिमाग चलने लगा. As our brain started working, I started realizing how much of our life is foreign spending, right? So that's what my first quiz is on, right? How many people in this room have a Indian smartphone? मेरे पास iPhone है made in India, but that's Apple is still not an Indian brand. Indian smartphone है क्या किसी के पास? So there are Indian franchises. They've got someone at the back. Glad. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. So there are Indian smartphone brands. One is called Lava, for instance. But 90% of the phones that you and I use are imported. And even my made in Bangalore iPhone, of which I'm very proud, right? 6 साल पुराना made in Bangalore iPhone है. Sorry, 4 साल पुराना made in Bangalore iPhone है. 90% of this iPhone is obviously imported, right? So very little of the electronics in front of us, right? I'm seeing a mic here. It's called Shiva ka brand there, but it also says Shure. So I'm pretty sure this mic is from China. The camera is almost certainly imported. Most of the electronics in this room will be imported. Let's do a separate quiz. I'm sure everybody is wearing a watch. I like wearing watches. मैं भी उतना digital नहीं हूँ कि phone पे time देखता हूँ. What percentage of the watch movements, right? Remember, watch का अहम part क्या है? Watch का सबसे important part is the movement. ठीक है? What percentage of the watch movements are made in our country? Right? आज़ादी के 80 साल हो गए हैं. घड़ी के कितने movement? घड़ी का movement is the important part, right? What percentage of the watch movements would it be made in India? Let's just keep it simple. 70% of the watch movements are made in India. Anybody for 70%? 20% of the watch movements are made in India. Anybody for 20? Right, 20 hai. And the final choice, 10% of the watch movements are made in our country. 10 is the right answer, right? So only 10% of the watch movements, mostly by Titan, are made in India. Most of you in this room, even if you're wearing an Indian watch, movement बाहर से आ रहा है. ठीक है, let's go to दवाई. We're very proud of our pharma industry. We think we're having Indian दवाई when we have Cipla or Aurobindo, right? दवाई के अंदर any medicine, the critical ingredient is active pharmaceutical ingredient, right? That's the kind of critical churan inside the दवाई. API is the heart of the दवाई. What percentage of the APIs, जो दवाई आप खाते हो, the Indian दवाई that we wanna have, what percentage of that is made in India? 50% of the API is made in India. Anybody? आधा API? आधा. So we have Anita as on 50%. 50% we have two hands. Great. 20% of the API is made in India. Anybody? 20% we have a few more hands. Actually, थोड़ा सा optimistic है. 30% of the API, right? Most of the दवाई that you have, the API comes from abroad. But more relevantly, beyond the API, बाकी जो चूरन होता है दवाई के अंदर, 70-80% of that comes from abroad, right? And the point I'm driving at is not just that 2 hours from now I'll take a flight to Chandigarh. It'll obviously be an imported plane. हमारे देश अभी plane बनाता नहीं है. It'll be a Boeing. When I'm on the flight, I will work on my laptop. As you'd expect, the laptop will be imported. I'll be using Microsoft ka PowerPoint. That will be imported as well. If I listen to music, it'll be on Spotify. That will be imported. It's not just those aspects of our life which are imported. Very little of what you're buying in your day-to-day life is imported. ठीक है? That was my first realization during COVID कि जिंदगी के खर्चे, जो खर्चा आपके clients कर रहे हैं, वो rupees में नहीं कर रहे. The खर्चा your clients are doing effectively are in US dollars, right? Because if you buy a दवाई, and दवाई के अंदर 70-80% of the सामान is imported, effectively it's a dollar purchase, right? Then, as I thought deeper about it, an even more devastating realization hit me, right? At that time, this is 21, we were planning our bachcha's education and we were thinking about sending them abroad. And I did the maths on it and it was, distressing, and my wife had to ramp up our savings, change our lifestyle. But then I did some more maths on how big this phenomenon is, okay? So let's start with education. It's a subject close to most middle class people's heart. Everybody wants their bachcha to be educated well. Mumbai mein, how many international schools does Mumbai have? 50? Anybody for 50? 50 के लिए एक हाथ. 100 international schools, anybody? Right? The right answer, folks, is 150. 150 schools in Mumbai, which are international schools. ठीक है? 150 international school. International school मतलब IB, International Baccalaureate या IGCSE. Fees will be anywhere between 5 lakh to 10 lakh prati varsh. So naturally, if a parent is paying for their bachcha to go to international school, 5 lakh, 10 lakh हर साल दे रहे हैं, when that bachcha finishes school at age 18, will they send the bachcha to a local college? Highly unlikely, no. अगर आपने 5-10 लाख दिया है from age 6 through to age 18, once the bachcha finishes international school, most likely they will go abroad. ठीक है? So 150 school है, right? The numbers I'm going to give you will blow your mind. 150 school है. Assume 100 bachchas passing out of each school a year. That means 15,000 bachchas, just Mumbai. 15,000 bachchas emerging from the Mumbai education system every year, getting on a plane to the Western world. ठीक है? Roughly $1 lakh per year is the spend to get a bachcha educated abroad. हर साल $1 lakh, right? 15,000 बच्चे. By the way, this is a pretty reasonable number. I've done multiple rounds of checking. Every year, Mumbai sends anywhere between 12 to 15,000 bachchas abroad. ठीक है? 15,000 bachchas going abroad every year with $1 lakh per bachcha amounts to how many billions of dollars going out of this city to foreign education? 15,000 multiplied by $1 lakh, I think comes to $1.5 billion. Right? Just one city in our country, 1 year ka kharcha. By the way, India ka overall spend on overseas education every year is $8 billion. Right? That's just education. ठीक है? अब आते हैं travel पे. From the airport next door to this hotel, how many people fly overseas every year? We'll do some quiz again. 10 million people fly out of Mumbai every year. Anybody for 10 million people? 20 million people fly out from Mumbai airport every year. 20 million, anybody? Any takers for 20? Do people think it's less or more? Less. Actually, the answer is 30 million. 30 million people fly out of this airport overseas every year. 30 million people. इतनी आबादी भी नहीं है शहर में, right? Now, there's obviously repeat flights. And there are a few foreigners who come to our city. If you stand at the airport, you will see very few actually, right? But assume 20 million unique visitors. ठीक है? 20 million unique visitors, because otherwise the maths बैठेगा नहीं. शहर में 30 million तो आबादी है नहीं. So assume 20 million unique visitors flying abroad every year, and assume very conservatively कि $1,000 ही खर्चा करते हैं, right? I know इससे ज़्यादा करते हैं, but just to keep the maths within the realms of reality. 20 million visitors, this is data from the IATA, 20 million unique visitors flying out of Mumbai, going abroad every year, and assume per trip, including the ticket, ticket remember will be inevitably a foreign plane and foreign aviation fuel, right? उसके बाद वहाँ पे क्या खर्चा करते हैं, I'm not even getting into that. 20 million times 1,000 is, कितना होता है 20 million visitors times 1,000? $20 billion हो गया ना? 20 million visitors, हर visitor $1,000 खर्चा कर रहा है. So the point I'm driving at, folks, is your clients, my clients, very little of their खर्चा actually goes into anything to do with our country. Whether it's बच्चे की पढ़ाई, foreign education, foreign गाड़ी, phone, watch, सब कुछ विदेशी है जिंदगी में. Now, why is that a bit of a problem? Problem है because once you and I pay income tax, that's 35% of our income gone. उसके बाद once we pay indirect tax, that's 15% of our income gone. आधा इनकम तो वहीं पे गया. और उसके बाद the rupee depreciates against the dollar 40% every decade. So out of 100 rupees that you earned, in your pocket, after the dollar depreciation, only 30 is left. And with that 30, I realized in Jan 22, I'm not going to be able to finance my lifestyle, my bachcha's education, and my retirement plan. Simply not possible. I'm happy to be convinced otherwise. There are very smart wealth managers and advisors in this room. Right? I did the math. It doesn't stack up. 35% tax निकला, 35% direct tax निकला, 15% indirect tax निकला, जो बच गया 50 रुपया, उसमें 40% depreciation आया. 40% depreciation on the vis-a-vis the dollar. The dollar is the relevant currency because everything in our life is in dollars. रह गए 100 रुपये में से केवल 30 rupees. You, I, your clients, my clients cannot finance their retirement plans, bachcha's education, and day-to-day existence with that. So, Jan 22, I realized this problem and I explained it to my wife. She said, solution nikal. So I have to find a solution. I looked up the basic data. Good news. There are only 2 stock markets in the world which compound in double-digit dollar terms over 10, 20 and 30 years. Good news. Why good news? Because one of those 2 stock markets is apna Hindustan. Our country is one of the only 2 markets in the world which gives you double-digit dollar over 10, 20, 30 years. Thoda sa niche aaya number because of this correction due to Iran war. But by and large, we in America stand head and shoulders above other countries. You'll notice though, if you look at the top 2 rows, the gap is widening. So over 30 years, their us are roughly equal. Over 20 years, they pull ahead of us a little bit, 11% dollar for America, 9 for us. But over 10 years, the gap is very big, right? They pulled ahead of us. We can discuss that some other day, kyun hua hai, right? So I said, and my wife said, diversify kar globally. घर में बैठ, COVID end हो रहा था, घर में बैठ, पैसे डाल विदेश में. So sitting in my little flat in Powai, I started trying to invest abroad. And I realized, boss, आसान नहीं है पैसा लगाना बाहर. Right? There are multiple issues. Firstly, the vastness of the global market. हमारा देश का स्टॉक मार्केट टाइनी है, $4 ट्रिलियन है. दुनिया का स्टॉक मार्केट कितना है? वर्ल्ड स्टॉक मार्केट 105, 110 के आसपास. So US alone is 55% of world market cap. यूरोप करीबन 15 है. तो हम लोग एक छोटे से तालाब में है. 4% of the world market cap is here. But America, Europe is 70%. I realized that, I can't simply sit at home in Powai and randomly buy stocks in America. More importantly, tax rules are very different abroad. आप मुंबई में बैठ के buy a foreign stock and something happens to me, right? If I buy a foreign stock, American government आधा मेरा पैसा estate duty में ले लेगा, right? Estate duty rules means if I die, their government will take my assets. They're allowed to do so. Similarly, UK also has brutal estate duty rules. By the way, it's not just buying stocks abroad. If I buy an American mutual fund sitting in India and I die, they will take my money. They'll take a big part of my wealth away. They're allowed to. That's their law, right? Secondly, leaving aside estate duty, which is worrisome enough, short-term capital gains tax. Short-term capital gains tax, if you invest abroad sitting at your home in Mumbai, is very high. So for someone like me, it's 42%. Maximum marginal rate पे आता है. STCGT is at your maximum marginal rate. मेरे लिए 42% है. And the horizon is not 1 year. If you invest abroad, horizon is 2 years. तो I realize मैं घर में बैठे बैठे पवाई में हाथ मारूंगा तो नानी याद आ जाएगी. Both the stock selection work is immense. Colossal market है. Huge market है compared to our chota market. And the tax rules are brutal. You screw up, you lose a big part of your wealth on both estate duty and short-term capital gains tax, right? And that's when I became familiar. This is 4 years ago. GIFT City had got up and running then. That's when I became familiar with GIFT City, with IFSCA. And I realized that what IFSCA has built for people like you and me is actually very convenient, right? There are many facets to it which you'll learn over the course of the day, right? Not least in IFSCA regime, I can invest abroad without being subject to American taxation rules. If I invest in a IFSCA fund, GIFT City fund, which is investing in America, if something happens to me, estate duty nahi apply karega. Secondly, the way IFSCA is structured, the capital gains tax incident is on the fund, not on the end investor. It makes a colossal difference. If I invest abroad sitting at my home in Mumbai, directly, the tax incidence is on me. I have to explain to the Indian taxman kitna kamaya, kya CGT aaya. But if I go via the IFSCA, because of the IFSCA's construct, the tax incidence is on the fund, not on the end investor, right? Aapke clients or I as an individual, if I go via IFSCA, I will sleep peacefully at night saying income tax ka jhanjat, capital gains tax ka jhanjat is significantly mitigated because the tax incidence is on the fund, not on the individual who's investing, right? But more importantly, between IFSCA, between the government in Delhi, and between the RBI, over the last 3 years, 22, 23, 24, a series of breathtaking reforms were expedited, right? I stress the word breathtaking carefully, right? I'll give you a couple of examples of breathtaking reforms. So, July 24, 1st July 24, the government of India lowered long-term capital gains tax on global investing from 20% to 12.5. So, 1st July 2024, the LTCGT Act difference that was there. Till July 24, LTCGT on investing abroad was 20. घर में घर में कितना था? इंडिया में LTCGT कितना था? 10 था, right? So 10 versus 20 was a big gap. On 1st July 2024, that gap went away. It became 12.5, 12.5. So it doesn't matter whether you invest in Indian stocks or global stocks, LTCGT now is identical, right? Similarly, there was a TCS rule. The TCS rule meant every time I invested abroad, 20% would go to the exchequer. The rule still stays, but last year the FM announced, last year in the budget, the finance minister said, you can offset the TCS against TDS. So every month I have to pay TDS as part of my salary in Marcellus, and the FM gives me an offset. So all I have to do is go and tell our payroll that I've paid TCS, give me an offset against my TDS, and turant mil jata hai, right? I've done it, it works, right? Many of our clients have done it. So the whole journey in terms of taxation was made easy, but an even more important liberalization was made by the RBI around 14 months ago, right? So important that I'm stunned that the media did not mention it. Not a single newspaper in India mentioned it. Around 14 months ago, the Reserve Bank of India said, LRS regime to hai. You can invest abroad under LRS, which means you and I per PAN number can invest $250,000 abroad every year. Okay? Per PAN, saal mein $2.5 lakh, which actually is a large sum of money. But a lot of wealthy individuals no longer have the money in their own name. They have it in the name of a LLP or a partnership or their private limited company. And that's why the RBI reform from last year was so important. The RBI said any body corporate can invest up to 50% of its net worth. The RBI said up to 50% of the body corporate's net worth can be invested abroad, provided it goes through GIFT City, right? And this effectively is semi capital account convertibility. Remember, our country doesn't have capital account convertibility, right? But I think the RBI gave you 50% of capital account convertibility, and this for us was a game changer. We called up all our family offices and we said, look, the RBI has now removed major restriction without, by the way, the RBI doesn't get in the way. To invest abroad under this regime is called OPI. To invest abroad as per the OPI regime, you don't need RBI permission. The liberalization means koi bhi family office, koi bhi company, right? Marcellus, for example, our balance sheet, a significant part of our balance sheet is invested abroad through GIFT City as per the OPI rules, the Overseas Portfolio Investment Rules. So major liberalization in terms of how much money can go abroad. Similarly, liberalization on the tax piece, significant reductions in tax. And the one last piece of liberalization which is important here is, if you invest abroad as per LRS, if you invest abroad through GIFT City using LRS, when you redeem the investment, you are no longer obligated to bring the money back to India, right? So you say you invest abroad with us or anybody else through GIFT City, the money goes to America, we make money there, 3 years later the client redeems. There is no obligation on the client to now say I will bring the money back to India, right? So my initial fears in 2022 that I won't be able to do this because the taxation regime is too heavy, went away, and we started investing abroad. But then over the last couple of years, as we started traveling around India, explaining this to people, I realized there's only one obstacle left. The obstacle is called dopamine, right? The obstacle is not RBI or tax regime or IFSC. The government, IFSC has dealt with all of that. The only obstacle now left is our dimag. Why do I blame dopamine? Dopamine is the villain here. So dopamine does good things. So for example, dopamine controls our hand movements, our physical movements. Dopamine also responsible for memory. The fact that I can recall numbers talking to you is because my brain has decent amounts of dopamine, right? It controls our physical movements as well. So if your dopamine reduces, which is what's happened to my mom, right? If your dopamine reduces, you get Parkinson's, right? So her hands shake because our brain doesn't secrete enough dopamine by itself. So we have to give her a stimulant, extra dopamine artificially to help her control her hand movements. But dopamine creates one big problem for all of us in this room. It makes you repeat the same investment again and again and again till you get completely wrecked. So if you've made money in Indian small caps through 22, 23, right? 24 mein to October ke baad bana nahi. Assume kijiye you made money in Indian small caps through 21, 22, 23. You will, or your clients will repeat small caps again and again and again. Dopamine will make you do it until you wreck yourself or your client. If I made money buying a flat in Bandra, dopamine will make me do that trade again and again and again until I wreck myself. There is no evolution evolution, biology gives you no protection against this. Diversification saves you from this sort of concentrated investment, but diversification has no mental kick. So if you ask Gemini or ChatGPT, what are the benefits of diversification? If you ask ChatGPT, what are the benefits of diversification? It's all theoretical nonsense, such as reduced anxiety, right? Estimation, reduction in emotional stress. कोई मजा नहीं है, right? I doubt, and if anybody in this room has a sexy way of selling diversification, बता दीजिए मुझे. अब तक तो मुझे कुछ मिला नहीं, right? But unfortunately for you and me, for us to survive in the world of investing, we need to diversify. This is the Indian stock market. 30-year CAGR, 13%. Remember that number carefully. 30-year CAGR, 13%. Long periods, 15 साल का period है. Out of this 15 साल का period, 15 years the market gave zero returns. 93 to 2003, zero returns. 2007 to 13, zero returns. In fact, I was being kind to you. 16 out of the 30 years shown here, 16 out of 30 years shown here, the Indian stock market is given zero returns. ठीक है, 13% का long term CAGR है. An easy way, an easier way to get that 13% CAGR is to use this diversification quilt. So all we have done here is presented the big 5 assets. Big 5 assets क्या है? Big 5 assets are Indian stock market, American stock market, Sona, bonds and cash. Big 5 simple है. हर साल इसका return देख लीजिए. Last 10 years में the number one, the gold medal has gone most often to the S&P 500. Silver medal has gone to gold. No pun intended. The silver medal has gone to gold. Number 2 asset है gold. 10 में से 4 साल gold जीता, 10 में से 5 साल S&P जीता. And Nifty has won, I think occasionally, right? I think 1 out of 10 years Nifty jeeta. But the beautiful thing is this, right? I'm going to give you a simple big secret. Every year, if on 1st January, if you and I just put 20% of our assets in each of these asset classes, 20% in each of the asset classes, these are tracker funds, right? This is not actively managed, right? Index funds mein, and you rebalance every year on 1st Jan, your mean return is 13.2. Your median return, I think, is 13.4. You're getting the same return. You're getting the same return from this 5 asset diversified class as the stock market. You're getting the same return as the stock market, but with fewer sleepless nights. So if you have clients who want sleepless nights, tell them to load up on a single asset class and live through the roller coaster cycle. I suspect your clients, our clients, most of our friends and family want to sleep at night. They want decent returns. The way to do so is diversify within India, but also diversify globally. Thank you so much for this opportunity. Thank you so much.